It's a beautiful bacon day, Cookie Crusaders. What you see before you is not a joke. It's not a gag. This is not a meme team. This is me actually testing to see if we can start making teams without the scroll. Yes, the one treasure that has lived through every team for almost 2 years. The one thing that you almost always put in every team because it's a good treasure. It's a great treasure, and it works really well in many, many different teams. But I really, really wanted to explore a way to make something without focusing on that. And so here was the thought line. Since I'm removing attack power, I wanted to give something else a chance to more or less replace it or supplement it. And since the scroll affects everything, and it's a passive treasure, what made most sense was getting another passive treasure. Now, I'm not saying that this is a better setup than the scroll. I'm just saying it works. So, what happens here is the Flamingo Tube is raising the HP of 2 cookies. Their max HP is raising by 50%. Right now, the 2 cookies with the highest HP in this team are Red Velvet and Wildberry. So that means Red Velvet and Wildberry are going to have the highest HP of the entire team. The clock in the team is there for not only Oyster having the most minions, but also for everyone's skill to go off as quickly as possible. Because right now we don't have any healers. Our only heal function is the Monocle. Now the Monocle will heal our entire team, and it will heal even better for Red Velvet and Wildberry since they have a higher health pool. But because there's no actual healer, we are relying specifically on heavy, bulky defensive setup and really powerful treasures working in synergy with the entire team. So with that said, here's the toppings. Almonds on every single cookie that is a high HP cookie. Even though cacao is a high HP, the damage resist is so good on these critical toppings that I didn't really want to change to almond toppings. And cacao is still an amazing damage dealer. And as always, at least for now, I have been running nothing but full cooldown on Oyster. And the biggest reason is high attack power from the minion soldiers and the most amount of soldiers possible. So that way the entire front line is as packed as it can be. Now, of course, a sorbet team or maybe like just a tank shredding team, it's going to probably destroy this. But we're going to go ahead and take it into arena. I have a couple friends I can show you that I use it against that it did work. But then we're just going to take it into arena and see how it handles. So, we're fighting someone in Masters 2. They've got double tank front, cotton in the back, a speed treasure. They've either got a quad 4 with Madeline and Caramel Arrow behind, or they've got Clotted and Caramel Arrow. So they've got speed and scroll. So they're attack power and speed. We're trying to hopefully outlive that itself. So you can see they're rank 5,000. So they've got Caramel and Eclair. That weakness is definitely going to hurt us a lot. But hopefully we can remove it with our Monocle. And everyone can survive just long enough. And they did. We get Red Velvet pulling the back cookie, which should be Cotton. But because they have Eclair and Caramel Arrow, I don't believe we're going to survive this one. And that's okay, because people requested that I fight people of my same rank. I'm showing you that sometimes that's really, really hard to do. Because clearly their setup is completely different than what we're running. And completely different than what I can manage with my toppings. My toppings, if they were better, probably could stand against that. So, now I'm going to take you to a different team. Oh, if I actually go back here real quick, this person, Candy Quota, I can definitely beat them because they have too low of treasure levels. But I'm going to show you the teams that it did end up working against. So, for instance, where was the one? So this person, Master 3, level 70 on their 3 cookies, level 60s on the fronts, level 10 scroll. I'm not using this scroll, so Therefore, they've technically got higher attack power than I do. They should, in theory, be able to take me because of that. But the bodies that go forward from Oyster are going to be super helpful in the blocks. Red Velvet's going to be pulling their back cookie for the heals. Our monocle's going to light up, giving us the health on our 4 chunky units. We have 2 super high HP units that are because of the Flamingo Tube, and our overall damage persistence against their team ends up working out really nicely. And I'll show you the stats after too. So, as you can see, Cacao with the critical toppings, heavy focus on damage. Not really like a huge amount of damage from everyone else, but yet again, we're not running scroll, so we're not pushing high damage numbers here. But instead, we get a little bit bigger numbers on the damage received because of the healing that we're getting too. So it's this interesting blend that's mostly focused on the HP of all the cookies and the setup and everything. One way we can run it too is we can do pure vanilla, because pure vanilla already makes shields based on the HP of cookies. So that means the shields on Red Velvet and Wildberry would be a lot bigger than the shields on Crunchy Chip and Dark Cacao Cookie. But even if we run it with that, we should still have a good setup, because now we've got a healer in tandem with the monocle as well, in addition to the shields that will be placed on our cookies. So that's going to give this whole big setup of protection and just this like moving wall that pushes forward. As you can see, Oyster ran it a little bit better as far as damage, because Oyster has good damage, but we are still keeping our main cookies alive thanks to pure vanilla. And yet again, the people with the 2 highest HPs, Red Velvet and Wildberry, because of that Flamingo Tube, that's the reason they survived without too much issues, because they had massive HP in comparison to Dark Cacao and Crunchy Chip Cookie. They were still great damage dealers, as you can see right there, but the HP was highest on Wildberry and Red Velvet, so that's why the shields really worked well there, even though they had a Dark Cacao, because you could see that our shields kept getting nullified, so we didn't really have a chance to stay with shields on our cookies, but nonetheless, it was able to take it on. So yet again, this is not a video saying, take away your scroll, go get Flamingo Tube, that's the perfect option. I am not saying that. I'm just showing that we can really start building some interesting teams without having to have a specific treasure always slotted in, taking up every spot that we always run. So I hope you have some interesting thoughts with this video. If there's any specific teams that you think would truly benefit without the scroll, and I don't mean that in the sense that they'll be better because of it, but any teams that you think we can run instead of the scroll, I'd really like to hear that feedback. And as more cookies launch and more cookie abilities keep coming out, the more we might start getting things that don't care about attack power. They might care about the cookie's speed. They might care about the cookie's HP. They might care about the cookie's critical stats. Attack power is very strong and it's very good, but we may start seeing skills that do not care about it, or maybe even get punished because of it. So it's interesting to see what may be coming down the pipeline and what we might be able to start building in our teams. Yet again, I'd love to hear your feedback and thoughts on this. Hope this was a fun video for you, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.